This is GameChangers podcast, inspiring conversations with leaders of tomorrow.
Hey guys, welcome back to GameChangers podcast, inspiring conversations with the leaders of tomorrow.
I'm Harsh.
And I'm AJ.
And today we have Rahmaan Hameed from Rahmaan Hameed Studios today. Rahmaan's been a creative director and an artist for over 6 years, working with the likes of Snoop Dogg, Chris Brown, The Weeknd, Floyd Mayweather, Raptors, Oilers, Mike Tyson, Kobe Bryant, just to name a few. He's worked locally as well with The Rec Room, Alibi Ultra Lounge, ATB, BMO, Ultimate Towers, Sony, and that's just a couple just to start off.
To name a few, right?
Yeah, no, pretty much.
How you doing today?
Good, guys. How are you?
We're good, man. We're excited to have you on the show. Lots to unpack, especially
Appreciate it.
the stuff we were talking beforehand.
Yeah, I know it's unfortunate that got cut off, but no, I think it'll be good.
Yeah. So I guess before we get started, for our guests that don't know exactly what you do, just introduce yourself a little bit.
Yeah, so my name's Rahmaan Hameed. I pretty much, as was mentioned earlier, I'm a professional artist, creative director, consultant, to say whatever you want to put it. As I specialize in paintings, murals, sculptures, graphic design, illustration, anything kind of, I guess, brand related, brand identity related, logos, anything you can think of.
Right.
But yeah, I've been doing this professionally for the last almost 5-6 years, but I've been doing it, my whole life essentially, as far as I can remember. But yeah, no, it's been a journey so far, and I'm excited to see what else is just around the corner.
What's going on for you right now, though?
Right now, I'm working on a few cannabis dispensary murals. I actually finished one a couple months ago, but just because of some delays, now I'm starting up the second two. I was actually supposed to start today, but it's Saturday, and I don't want to go in at 9 a.m. to work, so probably going to start that one tomorrow, start the other one, third one this week. I have a few other private commission paintings for some clients locally in the U.S. One of them actually for a pretty prominent jeweler. He's a jeweler pretty much all the stars that you can think of, rappers, celebrities, musicians. But yeah, so apart from that, just like the murals, paintings, working on another project with Ultimate Towers, as you mentioned, a sculpture that will be about 16 feet high. Can't really share much about that quite yet, 'cause it's still a bit under wraps, but I'll just leave you with that.
Confidential.
Yeah, you gotta keep it low key, confidential, and yeah, I'm also planning another art show for London, England. I just had one.
Going international.
You have to, man. You have to. I had one back in August 29th, but I wasn't unfortunately able to attend. But we're planning a new show for probably fall, winter, so just gearing up some pieces for that. Getting the right people involved, and hopefully it turns out just as well as the first one.
That's sure. You got a lot going on for you.
I mean, a lot, but it keeps you busy, keeps you sharp, keeps you on your toes.
And
sure.
you're a huge fan of, just a huge ball fan too, eh?
I love basketball,
and
man.
Even Marvels and cartoons and stuff. Because on your page, if you guys go on his page, it's Rahmaan H, and it's his Instagram page, and you're kind of pretty popular there too. But there's this huge segment of just NBA and Raptors, because you're a huge Raptors fan too.
Born and raised a Raptors fan. I was born in Toronto, actually. I was born in Scarborough. Moved here when I was about 7 years old, back in '99. But yeah, since then, Raptors fan since the day I was born till the day I die. We go back every couple months. We visit Toronto every now and then. But when they won the championship this year, that was the highlight of the year. Apart from obviously hearing that my wife was pregnant. But
oh, wow.
yeah, thank you. But yeah, Raptors till the day I die.
That's dope. And that's, I guess, the perfect segue. Take us, because we want to check back a little bit. We like to get started with how our guests got started,
Sure.
right? So take us back. Were you always artistic growing up, or run us through your upbringing a little bit?
To say the least, yeah. My mom taught me how to paint, how to sketch, and just the basics when I was probably 5-6 years old. I can remember drawing back when I was in grade 1, grade 2.
Yeah.
So always throughout school, elementary, junior high, all the way to the end of university, I was always known as that artistic kid, the guy that could draw pretty much anything that I put in front of him. And yeah, I've just been doing it my whole life, just practicing, trial, just seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work, lots of trial and error, lots of sleepless nights, developing my style. I took art class in high school, but that was more so because the art teacher kind of wanted me to take her class. She saw my work, and she's like, I want you to take my class, but I don't want you to follow my lessons plan. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, just do what you want to do. I just want to see what you're capable of. So that was in grade 12, back in 2010 actually, almost 10 years since high school. And since then, it's just it's been part of my life for obviously since I was born. And professionally wise, since a business, I've been doing it probably since 2014, 2015.
Right.
Yeah.
So noticed, like you said, you graduated in 2009 from high school. 2014.
2010.
Oh, 2010.
2010.
And then 2014, you kind of made it more like your business pursuit.
Yeah.
So what happened in between there, those 4 years? Did you go to university or?
Yeah, so I went to the U of A. I initially wanted to become a doctor, as everyone's one.
Yeah.
So I started.
Or engineer.
Yeah, or engineers or lawyers, right? One of those three. Otherwise, you're failing. So I did my BA in psychology. Took all the undergrad classes for medical school, like all the like the chemistry, the physics, the biology, anatomy. So that really, I guess, heightened my interest in human anatomy and figures. And you can kind of see that in some of my paintings that are a bit more realistic and detailed. Because you have to know the proportions, you have to know where certain limbs go and how like they look at certain angles.
Right.
And yeah, like in 2013, when I was, I think, in my third year or so, my dad was actually unfortunately diagnosed with cancer and he had passed away. That was October 29, 2013, so almost 6 years ago. And that moment, because he was always a strong supporter of my work, like whether it's a small gallery show or a painting that he saw me doing at home, him and my mom would always be huge supporters, huge advocates, which is really rare, I guess, in the East Indian Pakistani community. Yeah. For your parents to be strong supporters of your creative, I guess, endeavors. So after that, I realized, I can't just leave my family and go off to medical school for another 6-7 years. I have to be there for them, and the best way I could be there for them and for myself is I realized my artwork, my creativity, my passion. So I finished up my school, graduated back in 2016. But while I was still in school, I started just developing more of the business side of things. Putting it out online, putting it out on Instagram back when I had like just only a few hundred followers or maybe even less. And through that, me and my brother actually developed our own clothing line. And this is when kind of everything starts getting, I guess, starts coming together. So back in 2015, we were invited to one of Las Vegas's premier trade shows for streetwear, like any sort of like, I guess, brand apparel that you have. It was called Magic, and we were one of the few, I think only one of the 2 or 3 Canadian brands that were invited. And the other 2 brands, we've met them there, and we've actually developed really strong friendships with them over the years since. So that show was pretty much, I guess, what you did the breaking point. Like our
this is for your clothing brand.
It's for is a big break for the clothing and mostly for the artwork actually. So we went in with the mindset, okay, we have the clothing line, we have the hats, we have the t-shirts, the sweaters, everything, the bracelets, everything. We're gonna make a splash. We have to go all in because we were all in. We put in like close to 10 grand that we had to scrape together. We're like, we have to go. It's our first big break in the US. We got to make it worth it. But we realized, okay, everyone's going to be there with the same style booth, same layout, t-shirts, jackets, all their accessories laid out on like the same platforms, like an L-shaped booth. But we need something else that will allow us to
stand out,
exactly, stand out and be different from what everyone else is doing. So we're like, why don't we just take my paintings? My brother, he's like, why don't we just take your paintings? You have like 30 paintings here, like from anyone from Dragon Ball Z, Batman, Mickey Mouse, like cartoons and pop culture related pieces. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. I was a bit hesitant because like I wasn't sure actually how the U.S. market was for like my type of work. But I'm like, you won't know until you find out. That's the thing. So you have to take you have to roll the dice. Sometimes you have to take a gamble. And then we went, and so we had all of our t-shirts, all of our apparel, and then we had our paintings all like laid out on the front. So the way it was set up was, and if I could show you a picture, I would, but I'm not to take my phone out here. We had all the artwork, and then you saw the phone. So that would draw everyone in. Everyone would stop by, whether they're going somewhere or coming back from somewhere else. They'd be like, yeah, we wanted to come back to your booth because you guys stood out. And that's exactly what we wanted. We wanted to stand out because everyone else had, again, it's like clothing. We had artwork as well. So we realized just from the sale of one painting that we made that would equate to like 20, 30 shirts.
Yeah.
So we realized, I guess, now this is kind of like when the business like mind started clicking. We realized the profit margins from one painting is like 10 times, 20 times that of like a t-shirt, and probably more. So we realized, okay, we have something here. We have the clothing line and we have the artwork. And once the event was done, we came back with about 5 paintings of 30 that we took. And of the 300 t-shirts that we had, we came back with maybe a couple, like maybe 12, 20 shirts, which is also good, but we realized there's just probably more of the artwork. And that trip also allowed us to meet Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson, like the TMT crew, which again, we have strong relations till this very day. with the camp. It's allowed us to open up a lot of other opportunities with other brands that were establishing themselves back in 2015 that are absolutely huge now. So that Las Vegas trip, I would say, was the turning point of the creative, I guess, career, where it allowed me to meet people that I never would have thought I could meet. It allowed me to experience things I couldn't have ever thought I could experience, and it allowed me to build, which I think is more important than any amount of money, build the relations that would lead to future work, future projects, future opportunities. And since then, it's just been one thing after another.
Right. You dropped a lot there, so I want to unpack it a little bit.
Yeah, that's fine. Sorry about that.
Yeah, so I guess walk me through. So really, you were just doing art as like a passion before.
As just like a hobby, just like
so you and your brother actually wanted to make a clothing brand. That's what it was then.
Yeah. So we had the clothing line. It's called the Monster Clothing and Apparel. It's still active till this day, even though I haven't released a collection in about 2-3 years because of the artwork. It's actually kept me a bit too busy. Side note: I have the new collection coming out fall winter, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, so the clothing line we started, we saw good traction in Edmonton, in Toronto. Just pretty much like in most of the Canadian cities that we dealt with, but we're like, we need something bigger. We need to get into like the actual streetwear industry, which is heavily based in the US, right? And this was our opportunity. So he saw this ad for Magic Trade Show, which happens every, I think, August in Vegas. And they were like, hey, let's apply. It's going to be a bit pricey, but we got to take the risk. Right?
Yeah.
We won't know. We don't want to sit back home and regret not doing it. And I'm really fucking glad. Sorry if I swore.
That's all good. Don't worry.
And I'm really glad that we couldn't. I mean that we didn't actually, just sit back at home and not do it. Like, I'm glad that we got stepped outside of our comfort zone financially and creatively.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, the risk did pay off.
So talk a little bit about how important that is, because lots of people nowadays, they might be hesitant to really invest in themselves, because that's a huge investment, right?
Yeah.
It's a risk, it's a huge investment, and you have that responsibility of taking care of your family.
Yeah.
So how important is that for you to be able to just believe in yourself, your own craft, set a valued price for it, because you just really need to value your own work, right? And really take that risk of investing in yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's very cliche and corny to say, but like without any risk, there's no reward in life, whether it's with investments, with your business, or even just betting on yourself. Because if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe in your craft, whether it's me with my paintings, my artwork, or you guys with what you do, no one's going to believe. Because if other people see that this guy doesn't believe in himself, why should I give a crap, right? That's the biggest thing. You have to have confidence. You just have to have that grind to do that. If you're not passionate about it, don't even bother. Like that's okay. You'll find something that you're passionate about, but don't waste your time with it. Like, if you're not truly going to commit fully to it, like day in, day out, blood, sweat, and tears. Like, trust me, if it's something you love, you will cry over it. Whether it's tears of joy or tears of frustration, stress. Like, it happens, right? Like, no matter how big of a business it might be, you have to, I guess, it just comes down to self-belief. You have to know the value of your work. You have to know what you put into it. And I still, even to this day, I get a lot of people like, how can you charge this much for painting? I'm like, well, because I made it, because I know no one else can make what I do. Or even the people that can do what I, like, to like similar degree of what I do, like, I know the amount of work that went into it. I know the amount of years of like studying and practicing, and trials and errors and like failures and success that went into it. And I know that there's a reason that you're coming to me, because you need the service done. It's not even that. It's like, I know the value of my talent. Like, and I maybe realized that a bit later than I wanted to. Like, really, I only started charging larger amounts like a few years ago. But you have to realize it's your work, it's your time, it's your energy, it's a labor of love. And if people can't see it, then they can't see it. Then it's not for them. But there are people that do see it, and they're the ones that you want to really connect with.
Yeah, that's right. And is there? Because I'm guessing like there's a big a personality change that you probably had to go through, and because you were on this destined path, like a traditional path, wanting to be a doctor, right? From there to like taking this big risk of an art show, essentially, or
yeah, I mean, yes and no a bit, because like growing up, and I guess I'm just really lucky to have the family that I have, and like the support that I have. Where my parents were like, whatever you do, especially my dad would always say this, like, whatever you do, whether it's becoming a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, an artist, a businessman, doesn't matter what it is, whether you make $100,000 a year or $10,000 a year, put your full heart into it, and you'll be fine. Like, don't do anything half-assed. Like, so that was the biggest, like, I guess, motivation that I had, just like what he would say to me. Like, it doesn't matter what you do, we have your back, no matter what. And again, I guess I'm fortunate to have that. because I didn't always have to be like, oh yeah, I'm a doctor or I'm not supposed to fly.
Right.
I always had art. I always had this passion, this creativity. And my brother, he would even like even to this day, he always says to me, he's like, I'd always tell our parents that let him pursue this. There's something there. Let him see what he can do with him. And then, honestly, if it wasn't for that support, I guess I wouldn't be where I am today with like the opportunities that I've had, that I keep having, and the people that I've met, the things that I've seen. But yeah, I think it just comes down to just having the right people around you as well.
Right.
Apart from just having that support and like that being yourself.
And that's very special, actually. Like, because you're right, it's kind of rare in our community, also.
Yeah.
And, but to see like a figure like your brother to kind of step in and essentially vouch for you, right?
Yeah, honestly, like he's been a big reason why I've seen some of the success that I've seen, because he's very business minded. He's very business oriented. He could talk to anyone, doesn't matter who it is. And this is another like side story. This is going back to Vegas. So when we were invited to Floyd Mayweather's gym, he was talking to Floyd as if he was like his boy for like 5 years.
Oh, really?
And then one of the we went there 3 times during our 2 weeks there. And on the third and last visit, we saw Warren Buffett there. And there's a story of the Warren Buffett visit where he visited Floyd's gym because Floyd just likes to bounce back ideas about business and financial back and forth. And so my brother heard him saying that he wants a hat, he wants to wear someone's hat, and no one wanted to give their hat to Warren Buffett because he's one of the richest people in the world. You don't want to just give a dirty hat off your head. So my cousin, who was with us at the time on the trip, so he had one of our hats on. So we had like 2-3 hats left at the trade show. He's like, my brother grabbed the hat from his head. He gave it to Mr. Buffett. He's like, Mr. Buffett, I want you to wear our hat. He's like, thank you for this hat. I want you to wear my glasses. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, he took his glasses off. He gave them to my cousin. And I have a picture on my Instagram if you want to scroll all the way back to 2015, where it's Warren Buffett with his arm around my cousin, wearing our hats from our brand.
Yeah.
My cousin's wearing his glasses. And then I go up to my brother after. I'm like, how the hell did you do that? He's like, honestly, like they're people at the end of the day. It doesn't matter how much money they have. Doesn't matter how big they are. How much of a global, I guess, phenomenon they are. They're just people at the end of the day. They bleed the same blood. They breathe the same oxygen. They have the same fears and the same desires and passions. And it's like they're just normal people. You talk to them like normal people, and they'll talk to you back.
That's so special. And that's crazy, actually. Like somebody like Warren Buffett too.
Yeah, it's when I tell people that, they don't believe me, which is why I like to have these photos on hand. So like, here you go, just so you know I'm not lying.
It's funny because have you seen that other photo? It's like Bill Gates. He's like standing outside a burger stand.
Yeah, like some taco
and he's like, and he's just like he gets to wait like a regular person.
Because that's exactly what they are. I mean, like, and like you mentioned something about an attitude change. Like the one thing that I always give my brother and my family credit for, and now my wife as well, is like they always keep me grounded.
Yeah.
Like if they see that I'm getting super excited about a project, which you should. I mean, it's your hard work paying off. But they see that I don't say I get arrogant, but I think I sometimes, and I can admit this, I sometimes feel like I think I'm a hot shot. Like, I'm working with this client, I have this project, look at me go. And which is not a good thing at all, but it's good to have people that kind of bring you back down to earth.
Yeah.
As quickly as all the success can come, it can go away just like that.
Right.
And things like I'm very lucky to be able to do these things. Brown kid in Edmonton, right?
Yeah.
Doing stuff like this, but yeah, like that's the one thing with the personality change. Like just like these people with the billions of dollars to their name, they don't think they're better. They don't look down on. Like even Floyd Mayweather, he has a public image of being a bit of a prick.
Yeah.
But when you meet him in person, he's very nice.
Oh, really?
Like when I gave it, because I gifted him a painting at his gym the first day we went, and he put his arm around me. He like rubbed my shoulder. He's like, "Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. You didn't have to."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Wait a second. You're not like anything that you see on social media." He's like, "That's just a public image. Like everyone has a brand that they have to keep up with, right?" And with me, it's like the attitude change that I saw was I have to always remain thankful, humble, and just grateful for what I have.
Right.
Because it can all be gone tomorrow, right?
Right.
So on that topic of family, because you mentioned your brother as well,
yeah,
your family. So I just wanted to like maybe get some knowledge about your experience with your dad, and when we're talking about that huge shift of your personality, how did that experience with your dad, and how did that obviously you're in such a young age, and how did that experience really change you and really transform you as a person? What did it do for you?
Like losing my dad, or just my experience? Well, losing, obviously that's like one of the biggest things anyone can ever go through. I was probably 22. I was 21 when that happened. So I was very young. I was still in school. I really had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. But at that time, I realized, this isn't like I can't be beating myself up over this because that's not. Again, it's kind of cliche to say that's not what he would want. But growing up, I saw my dad, like he would go through it all, but he would always have a smile on his face. We would never know what he's going through or how much stress he's under because he wouldn't let his family see it because he'd like, I have to be strong for you guys, otherwise, we're all going to lose.
Right, right.
And I saw him, with businesses, with geology job, like he would like, and this is what he would always instill in us. Doesn't matter how much money I make now, it can all be gone tomorrow. So same thing with the business, with the job, anything. It's like, you're going to see the success, but it's a matter of how you handle the success. If you let it change you, then that just shows that it shows that you're very, I guess, moldable. Like if you see money coming in, it's like you're going to become a bit of an asshole.
Yeah.
But I had a great example of my dad and my mom, where it's like they had, and at that point when I was younger, I didn't know the concept of money. But when I look back, I'm like, holy crap! Like we were really like lucky to grow up the way we grew up. It's like, and I saw him, like he would be the same whether he had, like $50,000 in his pocket or like $50 in his pocket, brand new car or broken down.
Yeah.
So we've been through it. Like we like at one point in 2010, like we went through some issues with the business where we saw like our brand new cars, we had to sell them, we had to get something cheaper, like older. But I saw my dad, he was like, doesn't matter whether it's a brand new 2018 or 2010 BMW or like a 2001 Honda Civic. Like a car's a car, give it the same value, just like how you give people the same value no matter who they are. So he kind of really just taught me, and I still stick with it till this day, and I'm probably going to teach my kids the same thing with that. Doesn't matter how much money you have in the world, doesn't matter how much success you have, just be a good person, just be yourself, don't let this change you, and then that just makes life a lot easier, because you don't want to be a prick, you don't want to be an asshole, and you don't want people to be like, oh, money changed him, success changed him, or you need to know how to handle situations. If you can handle success very well, you can handle struggles as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Thanks for sharing that. I want to bring it back to I guess your career and how you got your breaks essentially. So you told us a little bit about your Vegas show.
Yes.
And how it, I guess, unintentionally turned out to be your art show, like your first art show in a way, or art exhibit.
Yeah.
Where did it go from there? So I guess briefly tell us where it went from there.
Yeah, so from there we just kind of capitalized off the momentum.
Yeah.
We kept in touch with with Boyd's team and everyone else that we met, and just through there, like they would share my work on their social medias, and that would just bring in more clients, just simply because they posted it. That's the one thing I love, especially about Instagram. Like if someone that is, I guess, a public figure posts your work on their story, or at that time just on the timeline, their followers will see it and they will follow you back, because it's just, I guess, it's just the law of attraction. Like when they see that their favorite celebrity or their favorite musician is posting about someone else's work, they'll be like, okay, that person must be good at what they do, or they must be really important. Let's give them a follow. Let's give them a look. Let's give them some business.
It's like a way of appreciation.
Yeah, exactly. And it can kind of be like an avalanche effect, or sorry, not an avalanche, a snowball effect, where one person posts and then another person sees it and then they post, and like just keeps building up like that. So I guess like the first person that I directly contacted was Patrick Patterson. He's a current NBA player. This is back when he's on the Raptors. So again, I reached out to him for the clothing line.
Yeah.
So I got him a bunch of T-shirts and hats for free. Turns out the sizes were completely off because he's super tall and he's like beyond just a normal human.
Did you just DM him? Is that how you?
That's how I slid into his DM. So
Really?
legit. I can show you the DM. I slid into it. I'm like, hey man, huge fan. Like, just a typical fanboy.
Yeah.
I would love to get you some of my merch. And he's like, yeah, man, send it over. Gave me his address. And that was back in 2015 as well. So I've known Patrick for about 4 years myself, till this day. And a year later, I sent him a free Batman and Joker painting for his new house that he bought after, I guess, he signed a new contract with the Raptors. And he's like, how much do you want for it? So I'm like, don't worry about the payment. This is a gift. I just want you to see it, because that's the one thing that a lot of people will ask me, like, how much do you charge a celebrity? I'm like, usually the first one's a gift, because I want them to see the value of the work in person. Because seeing something in person and on a picture is a completely different story. I want them to see the value of the work and like the quality of it. And if they like it, they'll reach back out to me. They'll buy it. And that's exactly what Patrick did for his birthday, like a few months after. He's like, yeah, I have a 90s themed party. I need you to do something based on the 90s. So I did Tupac, a Biggie, a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air inspired piece, and a big collage piece of like all the 90s Cartoon Network cartoons, because he's a big Dragon Ball Z fan. He's a big pop culture fan himself, big movie buff. So from there, like when he posted on his Instagram, that's how I got Fred VanVleet and a few of the other rappers at that time to follow me, to like my posts and to reach out.
Yeah.
And again, it's kind of like a snowball effect. Once they see you on someone else's like story, they'll reach out to you, then they'll buy from you, and then they'll post it, and then keeps going. It's like a chain reaction.
Yeah.
And then Fred, like he recently signed a new contract last summer for like 2-3 years, I believe. And then he's like, yeah, I got a new house. I need some paintings. So he picked up like 5-6 paintings plus a stormtrooper helmet that I painted. And then I'm like, hey man, you just had a baby girl. I sent him a Mickey Mouse painting for free just as a gift for his daughter. And just right now during the finals, he had his baby boy. And then I sent him another painting. I'm like, this is for your son. It's on the house. It's a gift from my family to yours. He's like, man, I really appreciate that. Like, he texts me. He's like, yeah, like he loved the painting. My wife loves the painting. And that's the thing. You have to build these personal relations too, apart from business.
Yeah. People appreciate that, right? Too, because it's not a transaction anymore. And, previously Sierra came on as well, and she was talking about this, where building networking is not just about a transaction, where because sometimes what you can do is you can build something even more special, and you really just build that connection and that relationship,
and like a friendship.
Because even with Floyd, the first painting was a gift, and everyone's like, "How much do you charge him? You charge him 50 grand, blah blah blah, 100 grand." I'm like, I didn't charge him a single penny because like I wanted to see that. And you want any of these like I guess celebrities, these public figures, to see that you're not going to them for their money. You're going to them for their relationship, the network.
Yeah.
Because they'll just brush you off if they think you just want their money. Like, hey, this guy he has nothing more than a piggy bank, right? But when they see that you're gifting it to them, when you're just showing your appreciation for them, then they'll be like, okay, they value me as a person, so I'm going to value them as a person. Because when you talk to them and deal with them just like how you do with friends, like how I'm talking to you guys, then that means more than any dollar. Because that builds a relationship that will last for years to come.
This skill of relationship building, is this something like you just learned as you went through, or how did this idea, because I really like that, where your first thing you do is you just give them a free painting, and it's like a way, it's like a mutual offering, or essentially,
it's like
to build trust, right? Is that a good skill you picked up on the way, or how did that come
That's something I just kind of saw with my parents throughout life. Like anytime anyone would need any sort of help, they would be there for them. My brother would be there for them. I see that in my wife a lot as well. Like she has a heart of gold, where doesn't matter if she hasn't spoken to the person for 4 or 5 years. If they need help, she's going to be there for them. I'm like, you need that trust. You need that relationship building skill within yourself, because that's the biggest thing. Like people are your biggest assets. Your health and people that you know, because money comes and goes, but these relationships will last.
Yeah.
And these relationships, even if it doesn't pay off now, it will eventually, for whatever reason, down the road, if it's financially or if it's something else that you might need. Like, relationships are, I guess, the backbone of any business.
It's very true.
Like right now, I'm just thinking, as obviously your story about how you reached out to the first DM, and how the effect that created. So the lesson for me, I think, from that is, lots of people are just hesitant to really reach out, and they really undervalue themselves. And you must have DM like maybe 100 people, but just that one response,
that's the thing. So
really does so much.
And I think it comes back to your first question about just like that belief in yourself, and like just kind of saying fuck it and going for it, because you have to do that. You can't just you can't just think, because everyone's going to think the same thing. They're like, oh, he might not reply, or they might not reply. And that's true. Like these celebrities, these ball players, they have thousands, if not millions of followers, constantly commenting, tagging them, and like DMing them. So sometimes you might just have to be lucky where if they're on their phone at that time, they see your message come in, then that's your golden window. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Like, this is another side story. I have a lot of side stories.
Yeah.
This goes back to how Chris Brown started following me. So back in 2016, I believe. 2016.
So he follows you on Instagram.
Follows me on Instagram. And I'll tell you how he follows me on Instagram. So back when Target was just new in Canada, they had a location in Kingsway Mall. So that location actually shut down. So out of the blue, like I don't know who this person was. Someone just randomly texted me saying, "Hey, I'm from Kingsway Mall, and I've been following you on Instagram, and I noticed that you have some really bright, vibrant work, and we recently just closed down our Target location. So would you be open to using that whole Target space as like a gallery type of thing, like it's like to do murals, to do like events, to do whatever you want with it?" I'm like, wait a second, Target's huge. It's like a Zellers type of size. So they wanted to give me the whole space, bottom floor, top floor, to do whatever I wanted. And obviously that's too much space for one person. But I said, yeah, screw it, I'll do it. Free space, why not? So I painted a few murals there, a Star Wars, like a Darth Vader, Stormtrooper, and a Winnie the Pooh mural. And then I just tagged Chris Brown in it because I know he paints himself. He's really into street art and pop art. So I just tagged him for the fun of it, put my phone away for like an hour, and started working on another mural. So then when I went to go check the time, my friend from Toronto, she messaged me on Snapchat. She's like, dude, what the fuck did you do? I'm like, what do you mean, what did I do? Like, I'm just painting right now. She's like, Chris Brown is following you. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, look at your Instagram, it's blowing up. I'm like, all right. So I opened my Instagram, and that paint, the post before it had like maybe like 80, 90 likes.
Yeah.
But then this post that I tagged him in that he liked jumped up to like 2,500 likes. I'm like, wait a second, what's going on? And I think at that point I had like 700 followers, and then, no, 1,500. And then in the span of an hour, it jumped up to like 2,700 followers. I'm like, that's crazy. That right there showed me the power of social media. And that snowball effect that I mentioned before, that if a celebrity posts about you or even likes your post, it's kind of creepy how his followers can see what he likes.
Yeah.
But his followers would be like, hey, if Chris is liking this, I have to like it too. And then the followers just came in, and then I was like, how is this even possible? Like, this is how the world works. Like, but it's really cool. It's like a first-hand experience of seeing it literally right before your eyes. And yeah, it's pretty cool.
And the influence, you're right. Like, I guess that's why like influencers are kind of a thing now, because of things like that, right? Like if they get behind it, then their whole like army gets behind it per se.
Essentially, like the whole fan base of their followers, they're like, hey, if this person, literally they can post anything. It's like, yeah, if they like it, I'll like it, right?
But like a big part of it, it's also just like your own, like just creating your own unique art, right? Because what you do, it's very unique. Like there's not many people doing that same kind of style out there as well. And when people notice it, it just grabs their attention, right? And it just like, it's like, okay, wow, this is kind of unique. And I think that's a huge part of why you get so much appreciation and traction, even from celebrities and just normal people and normal engagement as well, right?
Because I mean, the one thing I think works is just like, I guess the characters that I use, like, because a lot of people, everyone for that matter, whether it's you and I or whether it's a celebrity, we've grown up on, you know, watching Batman, Superman, Mickey Mouse, you know, like these cartoons of our childhood, which is why even nowadays, like, I've noticed, like, I was watching Dragon Ball Z last night, and I noticed that the popularity of that show now is much bigger than it was back then, because also social media didn't exist back then. But these are things that everyone grew up on, like Patrick Patterson. Sometimes, like Fred Van Vliet, the biggest painting he bought for me was a Goku versus Frieza. It's like a 4 foot by 5 foot canvas, probably maybe just slightly bigger than this one. And I'm like, you like Dragon Ball Z? He's like, dude, I grew up on it.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing, that it's that commonality where it's like, hey, I grew up on it, he grew up on it. We're regular guys, just like Dragon Ball Z, right? And that's the thing, like a lot when people see my paintings, they're like, hey, I can relate to it, I can connect to it because I grew up on this cartoon or on this comic book or superhero. And like even like older clients that are like that, you know, like my parents' ages, they relate to it as well because they grew up on some form of Mickey Mouse or on some form of Batman or some variation of it. And like, yeah, like I grew up on it, my kids grew up on it. Like these are like I mentioned, like right before our interview, like these are generational icons that even my kid's kid will know who Mickey Mouse is.
So how do you like find that style? Because like even with like obviously what you draw, it's very different and unique.
Yeah.
But even like the colors that you use, it's very different. Like I haven't really seen anything like it. And like how'd you come up with that? Like just from your start, like what made you decide, hey, I'm gonna use these type of colorways, I'm gonna draw cartoons? Like what gave you the inspiration to really do that?
Yeah, so for the colors that I use, I try to keep it as bright and vibrant as I can. So I use a lot of fluorescent neon colors, especially under low light. They kind of have a nice little glow to them, and like it grabs your anything that can grab your attention. Like even if I'm doing a live painting and you see me from across, like I guess the venue, you'll see that okay, if this guy's using bright colors, so it naturally would gravitate people towards you and towards your work. Because I mean, it's like a kid seeing a shiny coin or like a shiny object. You want to see what's going on. So when I use brighter colors or like brighter like abstract patterns or whatever, or like these big bold designs, it really pulls people in. And I've noticed it. I'm like, okay, what grabs people's attention? It's brighter colors at least.
Yeah.
And even if you're using darker colors, just like the contrast of colors that you use. You can have black, but you can also have a bright gold with it, or black and silver, or like doesn't have to be super bright or neon, but like anything that has a nice contrast to it.
How did you establish your niche though? Because I noticed your work's very like we were mentioning before, cartoon, Marvel themed, or like sports themes too, like Raptors. You do
based on what I love. Like honestly,
yeah.
like I grew up on these comic book characters. I grew up on these heroes. I grew up, you know, watching basketball. You know, the Raptors, Lakers are my team. You know, Kobe Bryant in his prime. Like pretty much, I paint what I like. I paint what I grew up on, and it just so happens that a lot of other people like the same things.
Is that what you love about art? Then it's just a medium of expression for you, and
like,
a way to find commonalities with other people, right?
because the biggest thing I notice is when I try painting for what other people like, I struggle with it. Like I can't have that same passion behind it. But if I'm just painting, like okay, if I watched Avengers Endgame, like hey, I want to paint an Iron Man painting now, I'll paint it, and it just turns out that Iron Man, the Avengers they're huge nowadays, right? So it's just if you paint what you love, like you'll find people that like it. You're not gonna get everyone to like it because that's just can't cater to everyone's flavors.
Yeah.
But there are going to be a lot of people that still have like shared interest because it's a big franchise character, right? So I just find that when I paint simply just what I like it does pull the right attention.
And you really invest into it too, because since it's something you really love, you really put in that hour and like just that time, because it just means so much to you as well, because you just have a passion for it. So you just combine like your personal interest as well as just your passion for art.
Yeah, and you just want to make sure that it's perfect, right? And even if that's just your own interpretation of what perfect is, right?
So going off of that, we talked about some really great stuff, great stories, and it was really fun talking about that. But I guess we want to take a shift to maybe some struggles that you really faced in pursuing this dream. You're becoming an artist and where you've gone.
Yeah, so I think the biggest struggle that I think most entrepreneurs, especially in the creative field, face is getting that traction, getting the clients, getting the business, and getting your name out there. But I think the biggest thing to do with that is, or to, I guess, combat that is just keep working. Just keep grinding, just keep believing yourself, as I guess, corny as that sounds, but you gotta keep grinding it out. And the thing is, like, to get your work out there, you have to put yourself out there. And that's what also kind of helped me with like my, I guess, stepping outside of my comfort zone, because like big events, live paintings with like hundreds of people watching you, like I was usually comfortable with public speaking before, or like public events, like with like people watching me do something. But like if I want to grow this into something, I have to, take that step. Same thing with if you're a filmmaker or a photographer, you have to go to like networking events, you have to go to places where people will see you. You can't expect people to see you if you're sitting at home all the time. Right? You have to you have to just take some
Get out of your
risks.
comfort zone.
Yeah, get out of your comfort zone, just gain that confidence. And the more you do something, the natural it becomes just over time. Like my first live painting event was back in 2014. And right after my dad passed away, my brother, I remember him saying this, he's like, go out there and make people know who you are. Like put on a show for them and just have confidence in yourself. Because he going back to like what he does, like he's I guess he could be a hype man for me, but he can also like help bring my confidence level back up if I'm like if you're in a rut, right? If you're having a creative block, or if you're just going through some shit. And then after that, like I've done probably close to 100 live events, and just one after another, it's just like it's clockwork. I paint, I interact with people watching me, coming up to talking to me, and I get a lot of people asking like, how do you paint and talk at the same time? And I'm like, well, I just got used to it. I think that's the biggest struggle that some people face, is just getting used to certain like new things, new environments. And I guess again, I said this before, but stepping outside of your comfort zone.
Because you can just stay at home and you can draw like the best paintings, but if you're not really out there and you're not putting that work out there, then no one's really going to see it, right?
And the thing with me is that I never traveled like just by myself to the States before, but I had to go to Atlanta, I had to go to Chicago and LA for just like events that called me out. I'm like, I can't say no to these because I've never traveled by myself to the States, because I would always travel with my brother or like my family. I have to, in a sense, grow some balls and do this, right? So and again, those are experiences. Those are moments that you'll look back onto, like, hey, this really helped me, gain this confidence, do things on my own as well, and just learn how to interact with new people in different environments. Like you're in a completely different city, in a completely different country. So again, it just comes down to just kind of stepping outside of your zone.
Right. I guess we'll transition a bit. So, you told us what you're currently working on.
Yeah.
The one thing I wanted to touch on, like, I also noticed you shared like a little while ago this, I guess, a memory essentially of how you got into painting cars, or you're painting supercars. How did that come about?
Yeah. So essentially, that's one of the coolest stories that I have. This is back in 2015. A lot of things happened in 2015. now that I think about it. So essentially, my brother, he had this client who has a marketing firm in the city, and he also collected cars. So he's like, and I didn't know who this guy was until like the night of. So my brother's like, hey, my client wants you to paint his Maserati. So I'm like, hey, well, that's pretty cool. Like, I can paint it on a canvas. What size does he want? He's like, no, he wants you to paint on the actual car. I'm like, how do you paint on a car? Then I've seen some other artists painting on cars, but like I didn't know how they actually went about it. It's like I don't know if they were painting on the actual body paint or if they applied something else on top. So then I did some research, did some studying. So then I realized, okay, we can use Plasti Dip to Plasti Dip this car white because it was like a glossy piano black.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, nothing's gonna show up on a black car because it's not gonna pop as much as it would on a white car. So let's Plasti Dip it white. So we went to this auto body shop, I think by Sherwood Park or something, and we got like 9 layers of white Plasti Dip. It's like matte white Plasti Dip. So when I painted on it, it was like painting on a canvas. So this whole project was like a Saturday thing. It's like a Friday Saturday project, and then Sunday we did like a clear coat on the car. So Friday I put 12 hours straight. Saturday I put another 5-6 hours. So probably like close to like 17, 18 hours when it just painted this car. And I'm like, this is like my biggest, most ambitious project, and I guess my most delicate project, to date. So because if I fuck up on this painting, like this guy's gonna get pissed off. It's this car, right?
It's a Maserati.
It's a Maserati. So then, once the car was done, once we clear coated it, once we like applied the finishing touches, we're like, we have to find a way to, I guess, showcase this car other than just simply posting it on Instagram. So like, how can we do this? Then I'm like, why don't we just do an art show? So then my client, my brother, like, yeah, why don't we just do that? Because he had a loft in downtown, and this is around like the same time, like 4 years ago, like around September. So it's getting a bit chilly. So we're like, we have to do something indoors. So we have to do something quick before it snows. So from when the car was done on a Sunday till the following Friday, that's when pretty much all the planning of the show happened. The show took place on the Friday following. So that show had probably like close to 200-300 people, close to 30 paintings that I've done. I had to make like another 5-6 paintings just for that show in that 2-3 day window. We had the Maserati as like the centerpiece, and we had a bunch of other supercars from like other clients in the city show up. So within a week or like less than a week, within like 5 days, we put together the show. We got all the vendors, we got all the artwork installed, we got all the cars out, and that was my first solo show. And looking back on that, I'm glad that I kind of again stepped outside my comfort zone to take on a project that I don't would have, I guess, had the guts to take on, because it's someone's, even if it's a Maserati or whether it's a Honda Accord, it's someone's car, it's someone's property, right? You don't want to screw that up. And that in itself opened up a lot of opportunities with the city to the other car collectors that are out there. The one thing I've noticed with Edmonton is there's a lot of hidden wealth. So if you know the right people, then you know the right people. And this is how these types of events are, like how you can get to know certain people that you normally wouldn't meet, right?
Very cool. I guess it's a good transition point. So you've kind of established yourself, and for sure, like in the art community in Edmonton and beyond. What does like the future vision look for you? Like, what do you want to do next?
So the future vision kind of has to do with what just recently happened. So I want to be more international. So we have a reach in Edmonton, we have a reach in Toronto, and quite a bit of reach all throughout Canada. But I want to be, I guess, like a global name. I want to be a art market, fusion art market, in West art market. So with the show that just happened in London, we're planning to do another show probably for like fall, winter, or even like spring once the weather is a bit better. But apart from that, just on a personal basis, I want to have like a full boutique studio. It's like on Jasper Ave, downtown, part of the city, where it serves as a studio, workspace, and a gallery at the same time. Not just for my work, but if anyone else wants to do a show there or wants to display their work and sell it there, pretty much like a consignment gallery. So I have my work, then I can have other artists that are upcoming come and do the same thing. Because I know for a fact when I was starting out, I just wanted that one, I guess, outlet to kind of put my work in, like that one vent or that one spot. So if I could provide that to someone else and help them grow, then that's just a win-win, right? It's art for everyone.
Yeah. And actually, going off of that, like, when you were coming up, was there someone that really like took you under their wing in a sense? Did you have a mentor eventually, or did you just?
Honestly, I don't think I did. I just had like it's kind of shitty to say, because like people that I reach out to, they would either just give me like just poor advice, or they just wouldn't give me any advice at all. I would say the best mentorship I've had is probably my family.
Yeah,
because they're like, doesn't matter if other people see it. We know what you're capable of, and we know you can do this. And I think honestly, something that's all you need.
Yeah, very genuine too, right? Because it's your family at the end of the day.
Yeah, they're gonna tell you how it is, whether they like something, whether they don't. And I've, even till this day, I have my wife. She's like, yeah, I don't like this painting. I'm like, I just spent 8 hours painting this. What do you mean you don't like it? She's like, yeah, I know you can do better. I'm like, okay. Yeah. And I just paint over it and just do something better. Because they want your best they want your best interest at heart, even if it's like like the honest, brutal truth. If you don't want to hear it, like they're still gonna tell you because they just want you to be the best that you can possibly be, right?
And going off of that, so that you kind of established your vision, and is that, I guess, concrete? Do you want to get back, or you want to keep growing your clothing line as well, the sponsor?
Well, with the clothing line, like that was something that we've had on the side, and like, if you see it on Instagram, you can see like the visuals and the creative direction are completely different from my artwork, and that's intentional. So the artwork, I want it to be very pop culture oriented, and the clothing line, I want it to be like more high end streetwear, like like Renaissance inspired, like darker colors, bolder visuals. But with that, yeah, like we like I mentioned earlier, like we have the new collection. It's already made. We just have to like get all the photo shoots done, get the website back up, and we have the spring summer collection coming out. And I realized, with if it wasn't for that, I guess project, the artwork I guess wouldn't have blown up the way it has. Because the clothing line took us to Vegas, and Vegas showed us the value of the artwork and like the I guess the demand of it. And I'm like, if I didn't have the clothing line, then we wouldn't have gone on that trip. Then all these other people wouldn't have, I guess, snowballed out right after. So yeah, no, we even have like our clients and our collectors for like, well, when are you bringing up the new collection? I'm like, well, give us some time. So probably fall, winter, late winter, and spring, summer for the following collection. But yeah, I just want to bring that back, have it I guess rejuvenated.
Mm-hmm. I really appreciate you sharing all that. And I think something that really resonated with me was, and what we really try to do here with the podcast is, you saying you really want to give back to, just help upcoming artists in that sort of sense as well. And you said you want to create a platform where anyone who's into art can kind of just create and share their work and get exposure in that way. And I think lots of times people from the same industries, they kind of get caught up in competition, but there's also that, everyone can win, right? You can collaborate in.
The way I look at it, like someone else's success shouldn't affect you. Like if anything, you should be happy for them because they're not, unless they're directly stealing or like poaching your clients. I think that's a different story. That's like you have to kind of talk to them on a one-on-one basis. But someone else's success shouldn't affect yours because your success doesn't affect theirs. And I just like when I look back on it, like I kind of hope that I had a mentor or like a space where I could like put my work in because I think it just would have helped with the confidence level, with just like the overall growth. And I'm thinking, like, if I can do that for someone else, I mean, what do I have to lose from? I'm helping someone else gain in their career. I'm helping someone else, if anything, inspire them more to pursue their work. And again, you don't lose anything to help someone, right? Yeah. You shouldn't let your ego or your pride get in the way.
And I really appreciate like where that energy comes from. It's from a place of this like giving to upcoming artists as well. And going off of that, I just wanted to ask. Yeah. Like, do you have a message to maybe like there's so many people getting into art and different types of art and innovating with art. What's your message to upcoming artists or younger artists and kind of just how to stand out and really make their niche and really get successful?
I mean, this kind of goes back to your first question, like how you kind of get yourself out there. It's all about just that belief in yourself, that having confidence in your work, even if no one else does. Because if you believe in what you're putting out, then the right people will see it. And that's exactly what I went through, and that's what I still need to say. Like, I'm gonna pay for myself. I'm gonna pay for myself, and the people that like it, they like it. And yeah, you're gonna face obstacles. You're gonna face struggles and tribulations. You're gonna go through it, but you just have to keep working. There's nothing that's worth having comes easy, whether it's business, job, anything. So if you expect it to come overnight, it's not gonna come overnight. But you have to just keep going with it and enjoy the journey. Like. When I look back on these stories that I'm sharing them with you, it's like those were all journeys that kind of shaped where I am now and shaped the person that I become. And I wouldn't have I wouldn't do it any other way. You do it.
What is it? Because you said you have to keep going, right? Yeah. Like through all these obstacles. What is it that kept you going? You just believe that art's your purpose? Is that what kept you going?
The biggest thing is like if I'm naturally good at something, like I need to show the world that I'm good at it, and I need to, if I can like capitalize off of it and like provide for myself and my family, then like I'm gonna do whatever I need to do to like get to that point. And the thing that kept me going, and I guess this is a recurring theme, is family, right? Like, even if I know some people, they might not have the best support network, but it should come from within as well. Like if you see that your close family members or friends aren't supporting you, then hey, that's their loss. Because this is the value of this, what it's going to be worth, and that if you just keep working at it, like again, it comes back just to supporting yourself. You have to bet on yourself, right?
Yeah.
That's actually stole that from Red Band Beats. That's a slogan: bet on yourself.
Yeah.
You have to, even when all the odds are against you. You just have to keep working away at it. Because if you're truly passionate about something, it'll eventually. It has to.
For sure. And I think that's a really good way to just kind of go towards our close. And we always ask every guest this one question, which is, describe in one word, if you had one word to say, what really matters to make someone, that made you a game changer, or that makes anyone a game changer, like a quality or any trait.
I would say just one word. Relationships. That's the biggest thing I think you should have, like your relationships with your clients, your business associates, your networks, your family, your friends. Because if you're good with people, if you do good, if you're good with others, then good things will happen for you. You can't treat people like crap. You can't look down on them. You can't walk all over them just because you think you're accomplished in something. Like I think relationships are the things you can have.
It's like what you give is what you get.
Yeah, essentially, like you're good to others, and the universe will pay you back.
Exactly what goes back to what you're talking about. Since your belief in that, you did so much, free work for all these celebrities just out of goodwill and just out of appreciation for their own work and their own sport.
And my biggest thing is like, you want to make money. You want to make a lot of money with this, but like I don't want to do this. Like I don't want to make the money for myself, where I can go buy like my like Ferrari or Lamborghini. I want to provide for my family, my wife, my soon-to-be kid. And even just like helping others who might need it, like whether it's strangers on the street or like donating to a cause, or like, because I'm very heavy with like wanting to give back to even if you don't know them, just people who might just need the help. Because everyone needs help eventually, whether it's financial help or emotional help. But it's just about helping people and just being good to others.
And going off of that, for anyone who is in the creative industry and is especially like an upcoming artist, if you're young, you need any sort of advice or just any sort of mentorship, like. Rahmaan, we'll link his Instagram, and you guys can definitely reach out, DM. As you can see, like he really wants to help, especially in Edmonton. There's so many creative minds, and if anyone is interested, like please reach out to him. We'll put all his information as well.
Yeah, like any questions, any tips of advice, I'm open. Like I have people message me all the time, like what kind of paints do you use? What do you suggest for making your paint flow a bit smoother? And I'm like, hey, like I can take 2 seconds out of my time to 5 minutes out of my time. Hit them up, because that's something I would have appreciated, if someone else did that. But yeah, again, it's just about kind of just helping others, is like just being good to each other.
Right. I guess that's a perfect segue almost to our close. So where can people find you? Plug your Instagram and your website.
So my Instagram is just Rahmaan H. So that's RAHMAANH, and then my website is RahmaanHameedStudios.com. That's pretty much it.
Perfect. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Rahmaan, for coming on.
Thanks for having me, guys.
I had a great conversation with you just about your journey and what you're planning on doing. And really appreciate you coming today and sharing. All right, guys. We'll catch you guys later. Thanks again for watching.